Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Mooney. Today we will be taking a look at the history of special education and some resources available because of that history to us today. Before 1961, students with disabilities were shunned from public school settings, leaving education to occur in their homes or left their parents and families to pay for private education. So think about today's society and the people with disability that you know or may possibly don't know. The capacity is large, so if that left parents to pay for these private educations in today's society, how many families and students do you think could afford to pay for this, and how many students would receive an education? The answer is not many. Because of this, parents formed together with teachers and politicians to create an advocacy for their children. These advocacies pushed laws and acts into motion for disabled people and children. Some of these historical acts include the Elementary and Second Educational Act, which offered grants and scholarships to low-income families and created special education centers. The Education for All Handicapped Children Act, passed by Congress, was the first educational law directed for special education. It gave children with special needs all the same opportunities in the classroom for an education the same as that of a non-disabled child. The Individuals with Disability Education Act, or IDEA as we call it. This act came about in 1990. It permitted students with extra assistance and appropriate education in the least restrictive environment possible. A provision to this act came about in 1997. It implemented general education teachers as part of the IEP team. It included students with disabilities to take the state test and placed behavioral management plans in place for appropriate people. Throughout history, several court cases have crossed over to create the laws that are in motion today. One of those cases being Hendrick Hudson School versus Raleigh, 1982. Amy Raleigh's parents sued the school system after a sign language interpreter was taken from Amy. Amy, a deaf student, was assigned an interpreter to interpret her courses as part of her IEP plan. The interpreter deemed themselves not necessary to Amy's success after 2 weeks of giving her assistance. The case made it to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court ruled in favor with the school, deeming a free and appropriate education as a term that was for the students' benefit rather than their full potential. Another case, Timothy W. versus Rochester School District, 1989. A student was denied services because the school ruled his disabilities too severe to benefit from educational services. The district court ruled that IDEA adopted a zero reject policy with respect to the eligibility and the capacity to benefit from special education is not a prerequisite for children to be eligible for services. So because of this case, in today's school setting, all children that have a handicap are eligible for services regardless of the severity of their disability. Special education has came a long way since the beginning of its timeline. Now there are more resources available to students, parents, families, and teachers than ever before. All 50 states have educational websites that outline the laws and resources available to that particular state. Ohio's can be visited by going to www.education.ohio.gov. Listed under special education are multiple resources and an abundance of information on rights, IEPs, resources, and other opportunities available to the community. There are multiple avenues to keep current on special education topics and issues. Some of my favorites include DisabilityScoop.com and SpecialEdNews.com. Disability Scoop is a newsletter highlighting special education issues, and if you click and subscribe, you can receive these issues and current updates by email. Special Ed News is an online newspaper with lesson plans, IEP history, technology, and other resources available for all special education and disabled persons. These are just a few of the resources available. Contact your school or student advocate for more information on student rights, parents' rights, and any other questions or concerns that you may have concerning yourself or your students' benefit. Thank you.